Good evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Saturday, June 4th, 2022. I am Timothy Jaikran. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. Consultations on appointments of Chancellor Chief Justice will begin at the right time, says President Ali. RAMJATTAN Patterson in race for AFC leadership. One injured as two fires hit West BERBICE. IMF advises government to move at cautionary pace with public investments, and consultations on improving education sector continue. Now for the news in detail. President Dr. Irfan Ali has stated that he will soon be engaging Leader of the Opposition Aubrey Norton on the appointments of the Chancellor and Chief Justice when the time is right and after the various service commissions are established. Here's our lead story tonight.
In a letter earlier this week, Opposition Leader Aubrey Norton expressed his support for the confirmation of Justice Yonette Cummins Edwards as Chancellor and Justice Roxanne George as Chief Justice. The Constitution requires the President to obtain the agreement of the opposition leader in order to make these two top judicial appointments. But according to President Dr. Irfan Ali, consultations are currently ongoing for the service commissions, after which he will engage the opposition leader on the judicial appointments.
We have no issue appointing. When the right time comes, we will have the consultation on the Chancellor and Chief Justice. The consultation was on the commission the President asked for consultations on.
On May 13th, President Ali and Norton met for the first time to consult on the appointments of the various service commissions. The head of state invited the opposition leader on Monday for a second meeting, but Norton failed to show up, citing that he was busy. As a result, President Ali went ahead and appointed the Police Service Commission and the Integrity Commission the following day. Asked about the appointments of the other commissions, the Guyanese leader said consultations were completed.
I have completed consultations on those that were before the process, right? Including the three names for the Teaching Service Commission, and I think one name for the Judicial Service Commission.
Meanwhile, Norton has since indicated his intention to legally challenge the appointment of the Police Service Commission and the Integrity Commission. Reporting for the Evening News, CHANCELLOR.
Incumbent leader of the Alliance for Change, RAMJATTAN, and that party's General Secretary, David Patterson, have been nominated to contest for the top position of the political grouping, which is in a coalition with the PNC-led APNU, making up the country's opposition forces. Find out more in this Lawana McAllister report.
The Alliance for Change has announced that its co-founder, Comrade RAMJATTAN, and Party General Secretary David Patterson have been nominated to contest for the leadership position at the upcoming National Executive Conference on June 11th. Running for chairperson are RAMJATTAN Cathy Hughes, Sharad Duncan, and Jurita Fernandez. At the NEC, party officials will also elect persons to serve as vice chair and general secretary. 55 members are also vying for the 12 elected members of the National Executive Committee. This is the first time that co-founder of the party, Raphael Trotman, will not be contesting any of the positions. A hybrid system where regional delegates would gather at a central internet-ready location and join the online platform will be employed. In 2019, RAMJATTAN was declared leader of the AFC with Raphael Trotman elected chairman. Cathy Hughes returned as the party's vice chair, while Patterson was elected general secretary. The AFC had joined hands with the APNU to contest the 2015 general and regional elections, and the coalition subsequently won. The party signed the Comminsburg Accord, which outlined the parliamentary seats and ministerial portfolios for AFC and APNU members, respectively. However, APNU, led by former President David Granger, had been accused of continuously violating the accord. The party announced in 2020 that it would be reviewing the accord. On December 24, 2019, after much back and forth between APNU and AFC, a revised Comminsburg Accord was signed, but the full details were never released to the public. Lawana McAllister for the Evening News.
With the aim of bringing relief to and assisting all groups of people in Guyana, President Dr. Irfan Ali on Friday announced a one-off cash grant of $100,000 for every child living with a disability. He also revealed that the government will be constructing modern special needs centers in all the regions across the country with facilities to cater for persons with disabilities. Jarl Bryan tells us more.
President Dr. Irfan Ali made these disclosures during an engagement at State House on Friday, where 150 children with disabilities and another 100 adults with disabilities were in attendance along with their caregivers. He explained that his administration is cognizant of the hardships that parents and guardians of persons with disabilities, especially children, face. These, he noted, would have been exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic and other global shocks that have been having a ripple effect on the rising cost of living.
With the increases in gas prices that is bringing tremendous hardship globally, we have been supporting every single group. And today I want to say to you that we are setting aside to be launched today, and based on the register, we want to give every single child with disability a cash grant of $100,000 this year. So this would be an added incentive that we can help. We want to do more.
According to the head of state, some 1,000 to 1,200 children with disabilities across the country will benefit from this one-off grant. President Ali noted that this is part of an aggressive plan being undertaken by the government to bring benefits to persons with disabilities. That plan also includes the establishment of modern special needs centers across the country.
Building takes into consideration parents and other caregivers who would sometimes have to accompany our children and even those who are in need of help to the facility. So it caters for those persons also. It has a training component. It has open area for social activities. It has opportunities for skill development and learning center. There's everything that is in a modern facility like this. And this is a center we'll replicate in every single region. As you would have heard, the center has a retail area, because one of the things we want to do is to make these centers sustainable. And what we will do is develop specific products that we can retail from these centers.
This announcement comes on the heels of First Lady Arya Ali raising over $13 million through a fundraiser to establish a business center for persons with disabilities. President Ali noted on Friday that government is also working on other special initiatives targeting persons with disabilities.
We have to find a structured way in which we can deliver help, and a structured way in which we can look at the opportunities that are available. So we are working now to create a proper register. Once we create a proper register, then we will know how many persons in our society with disability that we have to work with, how we can work on a structured program at different levels to give them that opportunity that is so much needed.
Meanwhile, during Friday's engagement, the head of state heard concerns and complaints from parents and guardians. On the spot, he committed to procuring vehicles for the care centers countrywide, designing a program to train more special needs teachers, and ensuring special needs children automatically qualify for public assistance.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security has revealed that it is spearheading many initiatives which are aimed at uplifting the lives of persons with disabilities in Guyana. Here is Jarl Bryan again with the details.
In an interview with the media, Human Services and Social Security Minister Dr. VINDHYA PERSAUD lauded President Dr. Irfan Ali's announcement to provide $100,000 to every child living with a disability.
But I want you to stay in close contact with the Ministry of Human Services. We are here to serve with a lot of humility, and whatever the needs are, we are ready to do it.
She committed that her ministry will ensure that all children living with a disability will benefit from the grant.
The officers will be coming to you for those children who are in schools. I just spoke to the special needs teachers to make sure that you have a list so that nobody is left out of what the initiative is that the President announced earlier.
Moreover, the minister noted that there are a number of initiatives being pursued by the ministry to tend to the needs of persons living with disabilities.
We are just now training a number of women in professional care, child care and patient care. And what we are asking them to do is to work towards home-based care. So in other words, you will have day and night care facilities across the country, because sometimes mothers work very late into the evening and they have no night care facilities. So we're moving in that direction where you have care facilities for your children day and night. The ministry is also subsidizing those. So we are also helping mothers to pay for day and night care once they're registered and licensed by us. We're also encouraging you to get trained so you can offer that service, because many of you are taking care of these children already. So you can start up some of these facilities. We can work with you to make that happen.
Among these initiatives are the provision of free training in the area of ICT, the donation of cranes, hearing aids and other assistive devices, and the Pampers Bank initiative, where parents can get Pampers free of cost for children with disabilities. Charles Bryan, The Evening News.
Coming up, one injured as 2 fires hit West Berbice, and Guyana earned over $68 billion from extractive sectors in 2019.
Moving, lifting, or bending, whatever the job, we at Sylvie's Variety Store have the right tools to make it happen. Pallet jacks and hand trucks for bonds and industrial sites, easy pickup and convenient maneuvers. Chain hoist from Roughneck and Northern Industrial, the perfect solution to lifting heavy objects. And then there's the 12-ton and 16-ton hydraulic pipe benders from 1/2 to 2 inch. We also stock the shop press machine from Northern Industrial. Sylvie's Variety Store stocks the tools to make it happen.
Play our virtual Chick Chick game today and get a chance to win big. With over 450 draws, 3 dices, and 52 bet types to choose from. You can also be a winner with Superbet. Visit www.superbet.gy or any one of our agents closest to you. Play responsibly. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 18 years and over.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. 2 fires were on Friday recorded along the West Coast Berbice corridor, and they have left a total of 5 persons homeless, while 1 man has sustained first-degree burns. Andrew Carmichael has the details.
One of the fires destroyed a building at number 41 Village, while the other gutted a house at number 9 Village. According to Divisional Fire Officer Floyd McDonald, the origin of one of the fires is electrical in nature, while the other is as a result of a child playing with matches. Reports are that shortly after 16 hours on Friday, smoke was seen coming from a section of a building at number 41 Village. McDonald said 29-year-old Leon Omar received first-degree burns as a result of that fire. The farmer reportedly went into the burning building to save valuables but was pushed back by the heat, resulting in him receiving the injuries. He was taken to the Fort Wellington Hospital, where he was treated. McDonald said the child was playing with matches that ignited combustible material, which eventually spread throughout the 1-story building. The building and its contents were completely destroyed. The injured man's father, Reggie CHUMCHAND, told Evening News that he was not at home but saw smoke emanating from the building. He said his son went into the building to retrieve valuables.
The fire started from back to the part in the kitchen, part to the bedroom, to the wall. And if I find them, the electrical phone kick wire them, when I push it, and if they expose, and the rest of the different the wire whatsoever, we can't tell you. But right there, everything starts come from. So when the fire explodes, it comes the gas stove, then the hose start burn, and the gas start send the fire.
So where the 6-year-old was at the time when the fire started?
The 6-year-old, he been over, sir. Yeah, he knows over.
So just the baby was in the house?
The baby and the mother. The mother went downstairs with the big son. Before the son was so. When I shout fire, fire. She collected still one carry, she get remove you from it. And my son run inside in the car to eat the meal, she run inside and just try to pick up something for run back. You tell the farmer now. Take this catching things.
The family was unable to save anything. The 56-year-old man said even all their cellular phones were destroyed in the fire. The laborer said the family slept at the brother's house last night, but he's uncertain of the future.
Well, he didn't in the country, then so you tell her to go to sleep. So I don't for long.
The fire has left CHUMCHAND, his 29-year-old son, along with his wife and 2 children, ages 1 and 6 years old, homeless. According to CHUMCHAND, the building was rebuilt about 2 years ago, costing him $2 million. He estimates that another $1 million was destroyed in household articles. He is seeking assistance to get back on his feet and is reaching out to the corporate society. He can be contacted on telephone number 232-3113. Meanwhile, at number 9 Village, neighbors formed a bucket brigade and were able to extinguish the midday fire. Household items were damaged, but villagers were able to save the building from total destruction. All 3 occupants were out at the time. When the fire service arrived at the scene, the fire was already extinguished. According to McDonald, initial investigations gave the cause of the fire as being electrical in nature. Andrew Carmichael, for Evening News.
While the International Monetary Fund, in its preliminary report, has praised the government for several of its initiatives, it has also recommended that the government move at a cautionary pace in ramping up public investment. Shane Marks tells us more.
In its preliminary findings published on Friday, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) has lauded the Guyana government on many fronts for its policies implemented and initiatives taken to transform the local economy, which the institution said has deteriorated in 2020 but has since recovered well. However, the financial institution said while pressing development challenges still face the country, a large surge in public investment could add inflationary pressure, affect competitiveness of the non-oil economy, lead to an eventual loss in reserves, and might not be sustainable over the medium term. In this regard, the institution urged government to simultaneously strengthen the capacity to manage public investment. It also recommended that government set annual budgets within a fiscal framework that, over the medium term, constrains the annual non-oil overall fiscal deficit after grants to not exceed the expected transfer from the NRF to anchor the fiscal policy in a sustainable way. The IMF went on to further laud the authorities for the recent amendments to the Natural Resources Fund Act. The IMF also highlighted that several pillars of the anti-corruption framework have been recently strengthened in Guyana. These include the Integrity and Public Procurement Commission and the National Procurement and Tender Administration Board. The IMF added that asset declarations of a large number of public officials are submitted annually, and public procurement tenders are streamed live. Shane Marks, The Evening News.
The Education Ministry continues to host consultation exercises to solicit views from stakeholders on what is needed to improve the country's education system. Shane Marks joins us again with the details.
After the COVID-19 pandemic hit, many schools across the world, including Guyana, were forced into an hiatus. The Ministry of Education was forced to come up with innovative approaches to combat the unexpected collapse of the education sector. Now that schools have been reopened in the country, the Ministry is conducting a consultation exercise to improve the education sector.
This is important for us. While this consultation is framed in a worldwide movement right now. So UN countries are currently, and some have finished, engaged in consulting in and around how to recover from COVID and how we could reimagine education generally. This for us is a process that is not foreign. In getting to our strategic plan, we had massive consultations across the country in different interest groups. And that is the same thing we want to do to arrive at this particular plan where we'll have an outcome.
Minister of Education Priya Manikchand said that COVID taught the world that no education system was resilient enough to withstand the impact of such a pandemic.
I think the consensus was there around the world that we weren't meeting needs and that we had become too ensconced in doing things traditionally in the same way. And then came COVID. And if we were ever unsure about whether our systems were resilient and whether we could deliver education in varied ways, we learned as a world that nobody was ready.
Participants in the exercise were drawn from various organizations and government agencies. Chief Education Officer Dr. Marcel Hudson said that innovation and creativity must be brought into focus if the sector is to be transformed.
I wish to say this, transformation and change, they're not synonymous. Some people use them, the term synonymously, but they're not. Anything that change can change back. Transformation, when something is transformed, it cannot change back. It cannot. It will not, because it has gone through a process that will not allow it to revert. And I think that is the focus that we are looking at. So for us to achieve that, innovation and creativity must be brought sharply into focus if we're going to do that.
Shane Marks, The Evening News.
An estimated 68.3 billion in revenues was earned by the Guyana government from its extractive sectors in 2019, according to the latest report published by the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative Guyana. This is a significant increase from 2018, when some 27.6 billion was generated. It was explained that the Guyana Revenue Authority accounted for 72% of the total revenue stream generated by the sectors, while the Guyana Gold Board and the Ministry of Finance accounted for 15% and 6% respectively. This translates to 49 billion, 9.9 billion, and 3.8 billion respectively. Meanwhile, in 2019, the extractive sectors contributed 19.42% to the country's GDP, 24.94% to revenues, 72.66% to export, and 17.4% to employment. A further breakdown shows that the 68.3 billion earned, 43.3 billion or 63% came from the oil and gas sector. The mining sector accounted for 23 billion or 34%, while the forestry and fisheries sectors represented 1% respectively. And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Namarara Harbour Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Sunday, June 5th at 22 hours for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the BERBICE River Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Sunday, June 5th at 7 hours 20 for a period of 1.5 hours.
National Swimming Academy launched and West Indies close out Netherlands series with 3-0 win. Details of these stories and more in the Sportscast sponsored by Macorp coming up on the other side of the break.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Satco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store, located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rheinveld.
Ultra Lubricants, the leading lubricants for tropical conditions, has been serving you for over 40 years, extending the life cycle of your vehicle's engine by protecting it from wear and corrosion, removes impurities, and reducing frequent vehicle oil changes. Ultra Lubricants is for every market, from two-wheel light vehicle to trucks, construction, agriculture equipment, mining activities, and boating. Ultra Lubricants, world-class lubricants for tropical conditions. Distributed by Industrial Supply of Guyana, Inc. and available nationwide.
Welcome back to this evening's Sportscast, sponsored